Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and maybe different hour from our participant from abroad. Today, I am great honor to have opportunity to present all of you about the present situation of STEM education in Cambodia, and we focus on challenge and future perspective. My content of presentation, we have 3 points. First is introduction of STEM education. Second is STEM education update in Cambodia. And third, some challenge on STEM implemented at school level. Four is future perspective. For introduction of STEM education, we have 2 questions. What is STEM and what is STEM education? We need to distinguish this terminology because we heard a lot about STEM and STEM education. Some people or some teacher could not distinguish between STEM and STEM education. And we have another is STEM apply STEM. Second, why do we need STEM education? Why we do need STEM education? And third, what do we need to teach and how do we teach it? This question will start my presentation because we need to change our methodology of presentation starting from the question to pay attention. What is STEM? This is from Relay. Definition of STEM that is the intentional connection between 2 or more of these selected content area to drive instruction through observing, inquiry, and problem solving as an approach to teaching and learning. This is as a relay. And what about what is STEM education? STEM education and its interdisciplinary approach to learning where rigorous academic concept are coupled with the real world lesson as students apply science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in context that make connection between school, community, work, and the global enterprise, enabling the development of STEM literacy and with its ability to compete in the new economies. This as Hallinen. Some STEM education overview, they say that STEM education is an interdisciplinary approach to learning that remove traditional barrier separating the 4 disciplines of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics and integrate them into real-world, rigorous, and relevant learning experience for students. There is a different of definition what STEM education. And for our definition is STEM education is a cross-disciplinary platform for learning disciplinary knowledge, practice, and disposition of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in integrative way through the process of inquiring into real-world problems and searching for improved outcome. Why we need STEM education? Referring to our royal government vision that state that we have willing the 2025 we would like to Cambodian will be industry country, and 2030 will be a higher middle income, and 2050 will be developed country. This is our royal government vision, and STEM education will solving practical problem in everyday life by using learn principle is a key part of the STEM learning approach. Usually, such problem solving involves inquiry-based learning. The introduction of coding as a basic subject in many countries provide a good example of how one can use critical thinking skill in an applied manner. And why we need STEM education? The need of 21st century economy relates strongly to STEM subject. As technology continues to forward all level of production, knowledge of the STEM subject become increasingly important. Why we need STEM education? The need for STEM expertise in the workplace is also increasingly integrated. Workers in the health sector must increasingly know not only about biology, but also about technology. Engineers need to know how to use new software programs as well as engineering. Thus, today's workplace is increasingly multi-disciplinary. Why we need STEM education? Because we need to apply soft skills. Because STEM education will to real-world problem solving. To solve real-world problem solving, we need to work as a team. And team will apply 4C as a communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creative. All of these apply as soft skill, and we will solve as a project-based learning and problem-based learning. This is STEM education that we need to do it. What we need to do, what we need to teach, and how do we teach it? This is a critical question that we need to connect to real-world problem and solve the real-world problem. To understand this, I would like to show you a small video that they are created. And
STEM. It's the acronym for Science, Technology, Engineering and Mathematics. The disciplines that are vital for a striving economy and a safe and technologically advanced society. Right from kindergarten till 12th grade, most of STEM teaching and learning centres around science and mathematics. Comparably, little attention has been given to integrated technology and applying engineering techniques to have a greater understanding of the science and math concepts. For many years, the four subjects have been taught in isolation. But the new reform method, like the Next Generation Science Standards, is placing more emphasis on the connections between and among the STEM disciplines. To understand how this trend might affect teaching and learning in the future, we need to take a closer look at integrated STEM education, not just the individual subjects that make up the acronym. Affecting all in the real world, science relies on technology, mathematics and engineering. And engineering, it depends on findings from science, the application of mathematics and the use of technology. Imagine if kindergarten to 12th grade students were inspired and provided fun, hands-on and engaging experiences to tackle these subjects. That too, in integration with real-life problems, will they learn more and more deeply? Might they see STEM disciplines as more relevant to their lives? Could it lead to more of them pursuing STEM courses and careers? The answers to these questions depends partly on how integrated STEM education is implemented in schools and in out-of-school settings. Research suggests that implementation has to balance learning in the individual STEM subjects with more connected ways of learning. In addition, because it can be hard for students to make these connections themselves, teachers should transform to facilitators and need to make the connections explicit. Inside the classroom, some teachers may use instructional approaches like problem-based learning or engineering design steps to teach problem solving and to introduce integrated STEM education to their students. Outside the classroom, students have been exposed to STEM connections in museums and science centres through after-school experiences, like engaging in STEM-focused robotic competitions or through simple tinkering. However, we need more research to better understand the potential benefits and limitations of integrated STEM education for students, teachers, and schools. What, for example, are the implications of integrated STEM education for high schools? How can teachers be better prepared to teach in such proposed integrated methods? And how can we assess kids to determine what they learn and what is the level of attainment as a result of integrated STEM experiences? The list of questions is long, but answering them is important for our students, teachers, and the nation. For more information about integrated STEM education, check out.
Okay, we understand now about definition of STEM and STEM education. And now we start about the STEM education in Cambodian updating for today. And we have 3 points to show you about starting point since 2014. And second, the present situation of STEM education in Cambodia. And third point is what should we can do to develop STEM education at school level. Okay, starting from the new mandate of government, starting at the end of 2013 and beginning of 2014, Excellency Professor Hong Chunaron, the Minister of Education, Youth and Sport, Cambodia, they starting to education reform. He tells that education system reform toward quality of human resource training. This is starting that we need to open the environment to think about STEM education is a priority. And the present situation of STEM education in Cambodia, we have a policy on development in STEM education. We have guidelines to implement STEM education at school level. We have working group on STEM education. So many schools and NGO working on STEM education as innovation, sister in STEM, organized STEM festival and STEM competition, and all new generation schools focus on STEM education. This is the situation of STEM education in Cambodia. We have a policy approval since 2016. We have action plan to setting the mechanism to implement it, STEM education, develop our legal framework, financial support, human resource development. This is very important, and implementation process. This since 2015 we organize a STEM festival every year until 2019. And unfortunately, 2020, COVID arrived, we could not organize. But 2021, we will organize the festival online that will held from 13 to 15 December 2021. Yeah. We have a lot of activity for this as technovation, STEM bus, they will go around the whole country, 25 province and Phnom Penh city, and do exhibition by school and training workshop on training teacher also. Yeah, but we have some challenge on STEM implementation at school level. First is science education curriculum is not integrated in Cambodia, not yet integrated. Few incentive to teach technology or lab work because it is not covered on the examination. Test success drive teacher instruction for classroom or design for lecturing, not apply STEM instruction. Why there are paucity of educational resource in classroom. Teacher put more focus on their private class rather than using the science lab provided by Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport. And existing science lab are underutilized in most Cambodian schools. And other problem as a very small budget to support STEM education, relation or cooperation between government, university and private partner still low or not so much activity. Now we talk about future perspective. When we talk about future perspective, we focus on 21st century learning. And when we talk about 21st century learning, we talk about the knowledge, fundamental knowledge, to know, meta knowledge, to act, and humanistic knowledge, to value. And we think about, when we talk about the 21st century learning, we think about standard and assessment, curriculum and instruction, and professional development and learning environment also. And we will apply soft skill. Soft skill for C, that means critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity. And what we need to do for future perspective, we need to prepare STEM instructional design. When we talk about STEM education instructional design, we talk about research-based pedagogy, STEM content integration, real-world application, project or problem-based learning, scaffolding, assessment, culturally sensitivity and relevant, and technology integration. And when we talk about instructional design, we look at the discipline. Before discipline, 8 disciplines separately. And we need to think about interdisciplinary. Between a subject, they have relationship. Example, mathematics could apply for every subject, include social science. Because when they conduct the research, they need some knowledge of, example, statistics that they will use on research methodology. And when we talk about cross-disciplinary, that means every subject they have relation, they could apply, and they need each other. And multi-disciplinary as project-based learning. When we do a project-based learning, we ask teamwork, and when they do a teamwork, they need each other, have each other. This is very important because at moment big success, they need to work as the team group, team leader. When we talk about STEM instructional design, we think about sequence, plan it and touch sequentially, related with the planning and touch parallel. Plan it and touch simultaneously through parallel concept, and partially are separate discipline, and enhance one major, the other discipline appearance throughout the instruction. The total intended equality. This is some point that we need to consider for future STEM instructional design. When we have design, we need to STEM implementation. When we talk about STEM implementation, we talk about accessibility, all accessibility, alignment to local context. Because sometimes, as this morning, Minister already talked here, talk a lot of theory, but when we implement it at local context, is a big difference. And we talk about professional development and learning support, and evidence of effectiveness, and access to material, practitioner support, scalability. And when we talk about STEM practice, is science involved practice in which students must learn to engage, such as building and refining theory and model, collecting and analyzing data from observation or experiment, constructing and critiquing argument, and using specialist way of talking, writing, and representing phenomena. There is a wide inquiry-based, very important to implementing the STEM implementation and STEM practice. And when we talk about STEM research study, we need to participation in STEM camp, attitude toward STEM, in learning STEM, construction of STEM identity, and STEM career decision. It is a research field that we are focusing on action research. For future perspective, we need to establish a professional learning community of STEM education, and we need to establish STEM club at school level, organize STEM festival, local and national yearly, every year, and international collaboration and cooperation. There are several excellent methodologies that are used to realize STEM education goal of inquiry-based learning. Appropriate methodology include constructivist, problem-based learning, and project method. And we will try to international collaboration and cooperation. In fact, this morning we opened the office of Texas A&M University at New Generation Pedagogical Research Center at National Institute of Education. We have cooperation with Arizona State University, STEM Teacher Training Center, and Singapore International Mastery Contest Center, and more that we could not count this. And we need to turn it, the obstacle into opportunity. This is a very popular slogan of our minister because the COVID-19 will turn from physical conference into the virtual conference. We use the obstacle into opportunity, and what we need to think about this. And my presentation is finished. If you have any question, please, you're welcome.
Yes, thank you very much, His Excellency Professor Roath, for your meaningful presentation on a topic, the present situation of STEM education in Cambodia, challenge and future perspective. So now please allow me to read the question from our participant for you. And because of the time limitation, we could not raise all the answer from the chat box. So I raise a few questions for you. And for the first question is from Mr. Sokthun. He said that there are many teachers in Cambodia do not know well about the STEM education. What should professor deal up with this challenge? Please kindly answer this question.
Okay, thank you very much for this very important question. That you know, Cambodian teach as a traditional way for a long time, and we just starting education reform since 2014 that we talk about STEM education as a priority. And now we're facing our COVID-19. We're starting online learning, and to help the teacher, the whole country, to know about the methodology with the STEM approach. Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport well prepared for the teacher training institution like National Institute of Education, Battambang Teacher Training College, Battambang and Phnom Penh. And recently, Cambodian society cooperate with the STEM teacher training center to create nice school, evening school that we will have the teacher, the whole country to learn the way, the new way as teaching with the STEM approach. But take time, you need the time, because we could not construct Angkor Wat overnight. That we need to effort, we need to participate from the teacher, because now we use evening class or from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. To learn new skill, because science and technology nowadays is new for the teacher, as we call all generation. That from Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport work hard with the lecturing national lecturer to help the teacher. But teacher themselves, they need to help themselves also to join the workshop that we organize. Yes, we have and minister have the plan to improve their capacity, but take a little bit time. I hope that for 5 years in to the future, all teacher, the whole country will improve their capacity on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. This is my answer to the question, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Professor. Thank you very much for your clearly explanation with an interesting topic, and also answer the question. We have many questions. Because of the time constraint, we could not answer all the questions. So I am pretty sure that this presentation, as well as answering the question, is useful for our participants. Because of the time limitation, we could not answer all the questions in the chat box. So thank you very much, Professor Chandrat, for your answering the question. And before ending the presentation, do you have something to say?
Okay, just thank you very much for participant on my session. And I, if you are teacher in Cambodian, you could join nice school, because we will starting in January. Is the training session. We have 3 weeks. 3 weeks that I hope that during these 3 weeks you could learn something the new way how to learn. We don't teach you, we just show the way how to learn, because you have experience on teaching already. But we need to learn the new way how to learn when you are facing some obstacle with the science, technology, and engineering and mathematics, because nice school we will show the way, the new methodology of teaching with the STEM approach. Thank you very much for joining our session, and wish you all the best, and hope see you again for next time. Thank you very much.